Silverstone, England. Just the name causes a heartthrob in international motorsports fans worldwide. Beginning its high-performance life during World War II as a military airfield, the legacy is steeped with brave accounts of men and machines. In 1948, the land, people, and equipment turned from the sky to perfect the fine art of flying on the ground. Since then, Silverstone has been the home of motor racing in England. Success in motorsports to the people of Great Britain is a very high priority. It can still be said that the sun never sets on British designed and built racing equipment. For over 30 years, they have dominated the construction, sale, and export of winning race cars to points all over the globe. To illustrate how popular auto racing is in England, since 1950, 11 British drivers have won 113 Grand Prix with 10 world champions. The next closest nationality are the Argentinians, with 3 drivers scoring 38 wins and 5 titles. This is John Bizignano at Silverstone, England, located 60 miles northwest of London, bringing you the ESPN coverage of the British Grand Prix for Formula One racing cars. Please join Brian Kreisky and me for a detailed look at this international motor racing classic.
I'm Brian Kreisky, and I'll be commentating for you throughout the weekend of the British Grand Prix. First of all, we'll take you around the 2.93-mile Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. We come onto the start-finish straight. The cars will snatch 5th gear just under the bridge momentarily, coming up towards Cox Corner. This is taken in 3rd gear at about 125 miles per hour. Then it's back now on the power, towing the steering at the same time. After the exit from Cox, it's up to 4th, then 5th gear for Maggots Curve. Through Maggots Curve we've gone, onto the brakes again, just inside the 100-metre sign, before going into the right-hander at Beckett's. This is probably the slowest corner on the circuit. That was taken in 3rd, but still at 110 miles an hour. From Beckett's through Chapel Curve, flat out down the very fast Hanger Straight in 5th gear. Here, speeds attained of 175 miles per hour. Down into 4th gear at 10,800 RPM, which is nearly 150 miles an hour. Through Stowe we've gone. Along the short straight up towards Club Corner, which is one of the most difficult corners on the circuit. There is a funny crest in the middle, which makes the car go very light. Up into 4th, then 5th gear towards Abbey Curve. Through Abbey Curve we go. Flat left-hand corner, and this is the fastest part of the circuit. Its speeds topping 190 to 200 miles an hour. We brake very heavily for the Woodcote chicane. Taken in 3rd gear, 11,000 RPM, but still 130 miles an hour, and out onto the start-finish straight. That was a lap average of 1 minute 17 and an average speed of 135 miles an hour.
Never before in the history of Formula One have so many different engines contested the World Championship. Currently, there are 9 distinctive designs, all running their hearts out for this year's title. Now, for the past 17 years, the Ford Cosworth has been extremely successful. Beginning in 1967, it has entered 230 racing events, winning 155 of them. That means the Ford Cosworth has enjoyed victory in 65% of the races entered for the last 17 seasons. This example from the Benetton Tyrrell team is the latest Ford Cosworth DFY. It is a V8, normally aspirated, fuel-injected motor, giving 520 horsepower from 3,000 cc's. It has only been in the past few seasons that this engine has been somewhat overpowered by the turbocharged approach. It was Renault that pioneered the arrival and perfection of turbocharged motors in Grand Prix racing. They use a V6 twin-turbo system that develops 580 horsepower from a mere 1,500 cc capacity at a screaming red line of 11,500 RPM. Now, the rules allow for either a 3-liter normally aspirated engine or a 1.5-liter turbo. It wasn't long after Renault proved a turbocharged F1 motor can be made reliable and a Grand Prix winner that the prancing horse of Ferrari entered with their design. Again, the V6 layout with twin turbos producing some 600 horsepower at 11,800 RPM, all from that tiny, magical 1.5 liters. To show the wide variations in designs, BMW chose the approach of a straight 4-cylinder single turbo. The highly efficient, less complicated engine produces 580 horsepower and redlines at 10,800 RPM. It is the lightest Grand Prix motor in competition, weighing in at just under 300 pounds. Now, when you have 9 different engines contesting one championship, 2 things come to mind. First of all, it's the factory-supported teams that are winning races. And secondly, there hasn't been one design come forward as being the only way to go. The bottom line is close, competitive, factory-supported international motor racing, bringing great enjoyment to millions of fans worldwide.
How was the Frenchman's practice?
I am happy with the car because it's a new car, and it's much better than the old car because it's possible to brake later, and it's good for the weight also. And I am happy also with the racing tires.
It must be difficult to come to a circuit with a new car.
Yes, it's difficult, but we work very hard with Ferrari, and we test this car in the Fiorano track many times, and I think is the first time for this car for the race, for the official practice anyway. And I think after this race is very important because it's necessary also to work, and we know much better the car.
Is it difficult to have to race your own teammate, Patrick Tambay?
No, it's good. It's good because it's very good ambient in Ferrari, and I am very happy to in front near Patrick Tambay because there is no problem, and this is very important to the 2 drivers go work together, and for the moment is perfect.
Thank you, and best of luck for the rest of the weekend and the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Making it an all-red front row here at Silverstone. Second quickest, Patrick Tambay with the second Ferrari with a 1 minute 10.104 second.
We're with Patrick Tambay, who is currently second in the championship. Patrick, you're one of the drivers in Formula One that has a great deal of experience racing in the United States. How do you compare the two?
Well, my experience in the States is really only basically road racing and Can-Am. I don't have Indy Champ Car experience. I'd like to, and I will eventually when I retire from Grand Prix racing. It's one of my goals, and I'm looking forward to that. It's very different in some ways and very similar in some others. So you got to get in a car and go as fast as possible, but there's also the atmosphere around it, and I like the US way of life and the atmosphere in the sportive atmosphere among the different races in the States.
Now, you're second in the championship currently, and one of your biggest competitors is your teammate. How does that work out within the team when you have to race within yourselves?
Well, we belong to a team that is in fact giving us both the same equipment. There's no favorite, and this is very good in the sense that you just can give your best and go all out and know that the only competition therefore is going to be within yourself. I can only be beaten by myself. If I don't do the things right, at the end of the day I'm going to be behind my teammate. My teammate or the others, it's the same, as long as you can get the same equipment, and Ferrari gives us the same equipment.
With only 1 lap to put in your best time at qualifying, do you find yourself taking some extra risk that you might not if you had a tire that could go longer than that?
Yes, obviously that's the problem. That's what created a very tragical accident last year with Gilles. And you do want to take as many chances as you can on your one set of qualifying tires, but there's nothing that you can do to there's no system to control the qualifying, and at the moment it's a little bit of a problem.
And your chances here at Silverstone, how do you feel about a victory being in sight here?
They're always very good at the start of a race, but you can't really foresee it. I'd like to get into the race and go to the finish and then do my counts at the end of it.
Third quickest is the current World Championship leader, Frenchman Alain Prost with the Renault Turbo. He went round in a 1 minute 10.170 second lap.
We're with Alan Prost, who's the #1 driver for the Renault team and is currently leading the World Championship. Alan, this season you're teamed up with an American driver, Eddie Cheever. How is he to work with within the team?
He's much better than my old teammate. This year with Eddie, we did a good improvement on the car. We did a good job. I think he has good ambition. He's very competitive, very quick, very fast, and I think he wants to win a race as soon as possible. And it's very good for me because he works a lot and he likes to work. That is a big difference between last year.
What do you think your chances are on this turbo circuit here?
Yeah, it's very difficult to say something because a lot of cars can win this race, and it's very difficult race not for the drivers, this one, but for the engines, and it's very difficult to finish the race here. 2 years ago I have the best car for this kind of track, but I had a problem with the engine, and I think I hope to win the race, but I think it could be a fight between Ferrari, Brabham and us. It's the same than the last races, and I think I finished all the races since the beginning of the season, so I have a bit more confidence than all the drivers because I know that we find a good reliability of the car, but I am never very, very confident.
Alan, what do you think of the pit stop situation in Formula One now with the cars coming in to take on fuel and tires?
It's a good thing for the spectators and telespectators because it's very interesting, but it's very dangerous for the drivers and more for the mechanics because we can enter very quickly into the pits and you know we're just between all the people, and it's very dangerous.
Would you feel you'd be at more of a disadvantage with having to carry more fuel, more weight, having different tires?
Yeah, it's a disadvantage for the turbo engine. I think this year with the rule like last year or next year, for example, without pit stop, it could be a good opportunity for Keke Rosberg with his Williams to fight with us because some races we won some races that I'm sure we can't win without pit stop.
A surprise fourth quickest in the brand new Lotus 94T with the Renault power is Elio De Angelis with a 1 minute 10.771 second lap.
Elio, the brand new Lotus 94T, first time out. What is it like to drive a car for the first time in a circuit like this?
Well, it's very interesting because especially if the car is competitive, you know, you get a fantastic feeling in the fast corner.
Well, it seems very competitive. You were fastest today in unofficial practice. You think you'll be able to hold that position into qualifying for the pole on Saturday?
Well, like I said before, we have a brand new car, so I'm still trying to understand what the car likes, what the car wants. So every time that we stop in the pits, I see my board showing me that I'm a little bit quicker than the lap before. So it means that I'm still have to understand the car.
Well, and you always want to show some caution with a brand new car, too.
That's right. It's the only one that we got at the moment. So.
Well, the reason it's the only one they've got at the moment is because Nigel Mansell and Elio De Angelis have these Lotus 94Ts, which have been designed and built in just 5 weeks between the Canadian and the British Grand Prix by this man, Gérard Decarouge. In fact, Gérard was sacked by the Alfa Romeo team for a bit of a mix-up during the French Grand Prix, and I should think they must be very sorry that they let him go to the John Player Special Lotus team. Elio De Angelis, fourth quickest, although Nigel Mansell had a real hard time during practice, only qualified way down in 18th place with a 1 minute 15.133 seconds lap. But it would certainly seem that the Lotus-Renault combination working well here at Silverstone. The only championship point they scored so far in 1983 was the 6th place at the Canadian Grand Prix. Elio De Angelis looking wide, but I should think very delighted with his practice performance. Fifth quickest and leading the Parmalat Brabham challenge is Riccardo Patrese with a 1 minute 10.881 second lap. The Parmalat Brabhams with their new colour designs looking very good here at Silverstone, of course powered by the very quick BMW Turbo. These are brand new Brabham BT52s, and in fact during the unofficial practice sessions held 2 weeks prior to the Silverstone event, both the Brabhams were quickest of all. So it looks as if it's going to be a three-cornered battle between Brabham, Ferrari and Renault for the British Grand Prix. Sixth quickest, the Brazilian driver Nelson Piquet, second in the World Championship, also with a brand new Parmalat Brabham BT52B. He did a time of 1 minute 10.933 seconds, just behind his teammate Riccardo Patrese. Piquet, who of course won the Brazilian Grand Prix and who's been very consistent throughout the 1983 season and looks very strongly to be a World Championship contender. Conditions throughout the weekend here at Silverstone, up in the 90 degrees Fahrenheit, very humid, very hot indeed. This heat could of course affect the reliability of some of the turbos, but Silverstone very much a turbo circuit. There's Gordon Murray, the man who's responsible for the design of these beautiful Parmalat Brabhams. Seventh place on the grid is Eddie Cheever, seen here talking to the Austrian driver Niki Lauda. Eddie Cheever did a 1 minute 11.055 second lap. Eddie, who hasn't had great reliability during the 1983 season with his Renault, but hopes to do well here at Silverstone. Interesting to note the top 12 positions during qualifying taken by turbo-powered cars. Eddie Cheever himself lies 7th in the World Championship with 14 points. The Renault cars becoming certainly more reliable during the 1983 season. In fact, Alain Prost has finished almost every Grand Prix so far this year. American Danny Sullivan way down in 23rd place with his normally aspirated Tyrrell Ford, and we asked Danny to explain to us the cockpit layout in the Tyrrell.
First we have the master switch, then we have the on-off switch. We then go to the fuel pump, then we have the ignition, which is fired from the rear. We have the retard switch that you start the engine with, and then the light in case of rain or bad weather, so the cars behind us can see. Here we have, for our safety and for the car's safety, the fire extinguisher switch in case of emergency. We here have the gear lever with 5 forward and 1 reverse gears. Here we have the brake balance bar. This is for adjusting the brake bias, either more for the front or more for the rear by just turning it in this direction. Below that, we have a switch here that can adjust the front anti-sway bar, and again you can go harder or softer to help determine the handling of the car throughout the race.
How often do you actually have to adjust the brake and the sway bar during the race?
Well, hopefully on the brake bias we don't have to adjust it very often, except at places like Monte Carlo where the conditions changed at the beginning of the race. It was damp, so we had more rear brake, and then as it dried we adjusted the brakes back to the front. Now the sway bar, of course, we might adjust each race, because when the car is heavy with fuel we might have it a little bit softer, and then as the fuel load lightens we go heavier with the the sway bar balance to change the characteristic of the handling.
There's not really much room in there, is there? Is it well padded, or do you get sore spots throughout an event?
Well, again, it depends on the track, but it's very, very well padded, and in fact you don't want too much room because you want to be tight in here so you're not moving around holding on very much.
You're held in by 6 different safety belts there. Do you have to tighten those during the race? Do they loosen up?
Generally not. They're very well adapted, and they have Velcro strips so it can't slip too much, and they 2 across the waist and 2 up through the legs to keep you from sliding forward, and then 2 over the shoulders. And then of course we have this tube here which hooks into the helmet. In case of fire, it pumps in pure oxygen into our helmet so that we're not breathing any fumes from, say, the burning fiberglass or something like that.
Have you ever had to use that oxygen tube yet?
Well, we use it every time, and the only fire that I had, I got out of the car in about 3 seconds, so the tube didn't do me much good then.
Well, that's the greatest protection, isn't it?
That's right.
Best of luck, Danny. Thank you for showing us your office, and the rest of the season we hope that you'll be visiting the ESPN cameras several times.
Thank you very much.
Making a welcome return to Grand Prix racing after an absence of some 15 years is Honda. They won 2 Grand Prix in 1965 and in 1967. In fact, in 1967, they finished 4th in the World Championship. They used to have racing for them, the American drivers Richie Ginther and Ronnie Buckman. But here at Silverstone, they've got Stefan Johansson and have qualified in 14th place on the grid.
Stefan, this is the first time that Honda has been back in Formula One since 1968. How do you feel about being an important part of this historical event?
Well, I'm very excited about it all, obviously, and I'm also very honored that they've chosen me to represent them.
Now, you've been working on this project for some time, actually developing the engine all the way from Formula 2 racing. How long has this whole program been in the works?
Well, it hasn't been all that long, not the F1 project anyway. Not for us, or for me anyway. I've been working on it for about 8 months now, and we've certainly had our ups and downs.
Your car looks distinctively smaller than some of the other Formula One cars out on the track. Is it actually a smaller unit than the other cars?
It is fairly small, yeah, because it's still based on the Formula 2 car we used last year. So the wheelbase is very short, and it's very neat and tidy.
Isn't that harder to drive on the high-speed turns?
Yes.
Kind of an exciting time.
Yes, it's very exciting out there today, that's for sure.
How do you feel your chances are for this race and the rest of the season?
Well, I think our main object is to try to finish all the races for a start, and maybe hope for some better results next year.
And for next year, do you still plan to be with Spirit Honda Racing?
If they want me, I'll certainly be with them, I think.
Thank you very much, and good luck, Stefan.
Thank you.
Qualifying in 21st place is one of the smaller teams in Formula One Grand Prix racing, the Theodore Ensign team, the brainchild of Maurice Nunn. They have 2 up-and-coming drivers driving for the team, Roberto Guerrero, the Colombian, in his 2nd season of Formula One racing, and the Venezuelan, Johnny Cicotto, who failed to qualify here. As everyone who's been to a Grand Prix is aware, this type of sport attracts probably the most beautiful women anywhere in the world. One person certainly attracted, and in fact permanently attracted, to Grand Prix racing is the Californian-born Katie Guerrero, who first came to a Grand Prix back in Long Beach in 1981.
We're with Katie Guerrero with the Ensign Theodore team, and Katie is the only American wife on the circuit married to Roberto Guerrero. Katie, I wanted to ask you, there must be some times when you're very happy to see your husband come back safely from a practice session or a race.
No, definitely so. Every time, I'm afraid. It's a bit nerve-wracking, but so I think upstairs every time he does come back, because it is very, very frightening, I'm afraid.
But Formula One is also very enjoyable, Katie. I mean, the travel and the unusual people you get to meet. Unusual?
No, yes, it definitely is. We have a really, really nice time. We go a lot of nice places, and there are a lot of nice people involved. We enjoy it.
How many years would you like to see yourself and Roberto following the Formula One scene?
Oh, as long as, I'm sure I would enjoy it as long as he does. I love the traveling and, like I said, and the people, so as long as things are going well, as long as he can handle it.
One time I saw you pointing out a piece of bodywork that wasn't perfectly fitting the car to the mechanics. Do you watch that sort of thing in the pits?
Like an eagle. Yeah, I do. I keep an eye on things.
And you don't hesitate to tell people when you see something that doesn't look exactly perfect to you?
Oh, no, I never hesitate to do much at all.
Well, best of luck, and we hope that the rest of the season is as successful and pleasurable for you as the first half.
Thanks very much, John.
At each of the remaining Grand Prix in the 1983 season, we're going to bring you an in-depth interview with one of the central characters involved in current-day Formula One Grand Prix racing. The world champion, Keke Rosberg, is somewhat of a controversial character, so we chose to speak to him.
We're with Keke Rosberg, the current world champion in Formula One. Keke, you have a great deal of experience racing in the United States. How do you compare racing in North America and the racing here in Europe?
Well, I suppose you have to compare similar levels of motor racing than what I did in the States. I think the big difference is is the safety standards of the racetracks are much, much higher in Europe. I think basically there is just more money in road racing in Europe than there is in America, surprisingly. So therefore the tracks are, I would say, more modern over here. Competition is the same over there than it is here. I mean, there's not much difference on that, although I would say on Formula racing front it's a bit more professional on average on the same level in Europe than it is in the States. But the Atlantic Series, like what I did in America, were obviously very, very competitive, very professional over there.
Keke, how do you feel the safety is in Formula One at the moment? Can you see anything that you'd like to improve?
The safety in Formula One is very good at the moment. The regulations that got changed, the cars got slowed down from last year, made a big improvement on them. It still doesn't necessarily mean I'm a big fan of it, of those changes, but yes, Formula One is very safe at the moment.
Keke, you are one of the drivers who is without turbo power at the moment, and I've never seen you drive harder. What's it like to have all that hard driving in the corners be eaten up down the straightaways?
Well, that's the way Formula One is at the moment. It's a technical sport, and you're always looking for a technical advantage over the others. Well, this time, me and my team, we've been left behind, and the others have the advantage. It's normally motor racing. It is frustrating, but next year the situation will be different. Next year everybody will have a turbo in Formula One, and then they'll be back to old days again.
We understand that you've told Frank Williams that you won't be racing with him unless he does have a turbo. What's the current situation on the Williams team getting a turbocharged engine?
Well, actually, I never had to tell that to Frank. It is quite obvious that that is the case, but Frank has signed a contract with an engine manufacturer for next year. It hasn't been announced yet who it is. It will be in its due time. So Williams definitely will be using turbo engine next year.
Now, in the past, it's been said that some world champions have lost their competitive desire after they've achieved their lifelong goal, but that doesn't seem true for you.
No, my lifelong goal wasn't to win 1 World Championships or 17 World Championships. My goal is every season is going to be the same, do the very best you can, and if it brings you the championship once, twice, 3 times, 14 times, great. If it doesn't, you still know you've done the best possible you could.
The pit stop situation in Formula One now, do you think it's a good thing or do you think it's not so good?
Well, two point of views, obviously. One is the spectator's point of view, which I think for the spectator is very confusing. One is driver's point of view. A driver will say it's a great thing if he gets an advantage out of it. He says it's a bad thing if he loses through that. Quite obvious. I don't think it's good for spectators. I don't care if I do a pit stop or not. If I game for that, I do a pit stop because everybody else does. I have to do. For me, it doesn't really make any difference.
What do you enjoy about a Grand Prix weekend the most?
The driving. I still like to develop the end product, set up my car as well as possible, and the pure driving itself gives me immense pleasure, maybe more than ever so.
Race day at Silverstone dawns dry, sunny and hot. An estimated total attendance of 120,000 spectators to be packed around the 2.932-mile Grand Prix Silverstone circuit. Throughout the morning, the traffic jams around the circuit are like 12 miles, but for spectators in the circuit, lots of things to look at. They can even bet on the outcome of the race. A lot of Ferrari fans here, not only from Italy, but also from England. And just part of this packed crowd all the way around the Silverstone circuit. To the Grand Prix itself, round 9 of the Formula One World Championship for Grand Prix cars. 67 laps, which will be a total of 196 miles. There's the World Championship positions after 8 rounds. Alain Prost with 30 points. Second equal, Patrick Tambay, Nelson Piquet with 27. So it's very close in the top 8 positions, and indeed any one of those drivers could still win the coveted World Championship. There's René Arnoux, the pole position qualifier, going out to his Ferrari. Patrick Tambay there talking to the team's engineers. Alain Prost looking on. Last minute preparations to his Renault. There's Elio De Angelis, the Italian, with a brand new Lotus. Riccardo Patrese and Nelson Piquet receiving a bit of shade from this incredibly hot Mediterranean-type sun. Gordon Murray with Nelson Piquet in the Parmalat Brabham. And the drivers now preparing for the start of the 67 laps. The race itself should take something like 1.5 hours in duration, and Stefan Johansson looks almost as if he's praying, but he's just noticed our cameras. Stefan taking part in his first ever Formula One Grand Prix. Very successful driver, of course, of the Spirit Formula 2 team. And the grid now being cleared prior to the start of the 1983 British Grand Prix, round 9 of the championship. In total, 15 rounds of the championship will be held. There'll be a second Grand Prix to be held in England, the European Grand Prix on the 25th of September at Brands Hatch. That race, in fact, replacing the New York Grand Prix, which will take place now in 1984. The cars now on their warming up lap. Arnoux in pole, then Tambay, third quickest Alain Prost, fourth quickest Elio De Angelis, Ferrari, Renault, then Lotus Renault, fifth quickest Patrese, sixth quickest Nelson Piquet, seventh quickest Eddie Cheever, eighth quickest with the ATS Manfred Winkelhock, powered by the BMW Turbo, ninth De Chesrith, 10th Derek Warwick, 11th Mauro Baldi, 12th Bruno Giacomelli, 13th Keke Rosberg with the first of the normally aspirated cars, the Williams Ford, then Stefan Johansson with that turbocharged Honda, then Niki Lauda, Michele Alboreto, Thierry Boutsen, Nigel Mansell with the Lotus Renault in 18th place, Marc Surer 19th, and finally Jacques Lafitte in 20th place. 26 cars, though, will start the British Grand Prix. Number 28 in pole position with that sensational lap of over 152 miles an hour, the fastest ever lap of a Formula One Grand Prix circuit of all time. Seconds to go now before the start of the 1983 British Grand Prix. All the cars will be held once they've formed up from the pace lap. The engine revs now rising, red lights on, green lights, and they're away, and the two Ferraris look to have made a very good start. As for the two Renaults, Patrese looking to the inside, coming towards Cops Corner. But it's Tambay leading. Arnoux wants to be in second place, so Tambay from the outside of the front row looks to have gone into the lead from his teammate René Arnoux. Through Maggots they go, and it's Tambay leading, and Prost almost loses it, but Tambay leads with a Ferrari. Arnoux second, Prost third, Patrese fourth, fifth Cheever, sixth Piquet, seventh De Angelis, eighth De Chesrith, ninth is Winkelhock, and in 10th place is the Tolman of Warwick. And Rosberg almost goes off at the exit of Beckett's, but gets back on, no harm done. Down the long hanger straight they come. It's Tambay still leading. Oh, and Arnoux looked to the inside. Prost third, and it's still the same order. The rest of the field absolutely bunched up together. The whole field coming through, and Alboreto snaking there, but okay. Through club they go. It's still Tambay leading with Ferrari. Arnoux in second place. Prost in third place. Those top three seems to have pulled away just a little bit from their pursuers. They come up towards the completion of lap 1, and the two Ferraris looks to have drawn away a little bit. Tambay leads. Arnoux in second place. Third place is Prost still. Prost very close to Arnoux. Fourth is Patrese. Fifth Cheever. Sixth De Angelis now. Seventh Piquet. Eighth Chesrith. Ninth is Winkelhock, and 10th is Tolman of Warwick. 11th now is Stefan Johansson with that Honda. Into Copse once more, the race leader, Patrick Tambay leads, pulling away a little bit from Arnoux, under a lot of pressure from Alain Prost, who watched the midfield going through. There's the Ligier of Jarrier. And where's De Angelis? Has gone off. There's a fire, flash fire behind De Angelis' car. And a real shame. Remember, De Angelis qualifying in 4th place for the British Grand Prix. He's out. That engine well and truly blown up there. That could have been the turbos, the twin turbos, that blew. But De Angelis' race is run, so change of order. Still Tambay leads, Arnoux in second place, Prost third, Patrese fourth, Cheever fifth, it's Piquet sixth, Chesrith seventh, eighth is Winkelhock, ninth is Warwick, and in 10th place is Stefan Johansson. But up into 11th place now is Nigel Mansell with the second of the Lotuses, and upper place goes the American Danny Sullivan past Roberto Guerrero with the Theodore. Still, though, it is Patrick Tambay leading with that brand new Ferrari. Towards the Woodcote chicane they come. Still the two Ferraris leading. Patrick Tambay in number 27. Arnoux second. Prost third. Patrese fourth. Cheever fifth. Sixth Piquet. Seventh is the Chesrith. Eighth Winkelhock. Ninth is the Tolman of Warwick. 10th now Upper place goes Nigel Mansell, and 11th place is the Spirit Honda. The whole field coming through cleanly. The race leaders through first and second, the two Ferraris, now seem to be closing up a little bit. Alain Prost dropping back just that little bit. Through upper place goes the Ligier, chasing Danny Sullivan, that's Jarier, but we're back to the race leaders. First and second, still the same, the two Ferraris. Alain Prost in third place, still the smoke billowing behind from Elio De Angelis' car. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, fairly close together, but Eddie Cheever seems to be slowing. Cheever is slowing and is to be taken there by Nelson Piquet, who goes up into fifth place. Cheever drops to sixth place. The Alfa of De Cesare is still in seventh place, and Mansell certainly making ground there in ninth place, as is the Spirit Honda in 10th place. 13th place for the world champion Keke Rosberg. Upper place goes Jean-Pierre Jarier ahead of Danny Sullivan, who's going very well with the normally aspirated Tyrrell. Patrick Tambay still leads, and the top three now closing up a little bit. They've pulled away perhaps half a second from fourth place man Riccardo Patrese with the Parmalat Brabham. There's third place man number 15 Alain Prost. Remember, he's on Michelin tyres, the two Ferraris on Goodyear tyres. So it's Goodyear leading Michelin at the moment. Through Stoke Corner they go. And certainly Alain Prost looks, and there's Eddie Cheever just gone into the pits. Cheever, we just caught sight of there going into the pits, so he's out. First, second, third and fourth now very close together. Patrese with the Parmalat Brabham moving up onto the tail of Alain Prost. There's the Spirit Honda in 10th place, going well on its debut outing here, just leading one of the McLarens. There is Cheever in the pits, and I believe out of the race with some form of mechanical problem. Back to the race leader, still very close here at Silverstone. Through Cops Corner has gone our race leader, and this big battle on for 10th place. 10th Johansson, 11th is Nicky Lauda. Tambay moving clear now of a big battle for second place between the Ferrari of René Arnoux, and right behind him now looking for a way past the current World Championship leader Alain Prost, number 15. Just one Renault Turbo remaining in the British Grand Prix, and look at second, third, fourth place, very close together indeed. Through Stoke Corner they go. Patrese moving right in on the tail, but also Nigel Mansell challenging for 8th place from the Toleman Hart Turbo of Warwick. First, second, third and fourth still very close together. The top four looks to be closing up again. They're dropping 5th place man Nelson Piquet just a little bit. Ferrari, Renault, then BMW Turbo, then the Alfa Turbo. But Stefan Johansson out of 10th place, I think retiring into the pits. The engine of the Honda V6 Turbo, the twin turbo, absolutely silent. His race is run, but nevertheless showing very well in the early stages of the race here at Silverstone, which bodes very well for the Honda team for the rest of the season. Back to the race, still the same order in the top five. De Cesare in 6th place with the Alfa Turbo. The two Ferraris lead. There is Prost still in 3rd place. Patrese right behind him in 4th place. But no, Patrese seems to be dropping back just that little bit. But 2nd and 3rd still very close together indeed. Through Cops Corner they come. And there's one disinterested spectator rushing away from the circuit down at Stowe. Obviously a very hair-raising experience. But back to the race leader, it's still Tambay, Arnoux, Prost, Patrese, then Nelson Piquet. Top 5, pulling well clear of 6th man. Into the Woodcote chicane they come. Still the same order, with Patrese dropping back just that little bit now, and Nelson Piquet closing on Riccardo Patrese. Patrick Tambay leads in with the Ferrari. And now, once again, the top 4 closing up again. It seems to be a real seesaw all the way around the circuit. There's 6th place, De Cesare, 7th place now, Manfred Winklock. 8th place is the Tolman of Warwick. 9th place, the John Player Special. First, second and third, and it looks to us as if Riccardo Patrese is missing Piquet is now up into 4th place. Patrese is missing. So it's Patrick Tambay, René Arnoux, Alain Prost, Nelson Piquet. We're looking for Riccardo Patrese, and there a telltale smoke, and oh, obviously a blown engine there for the early 4th place man. Riccardo Patrese with the Parmalat Brabham is out of the British Grand Prix. 2nd and 3rd now, closing up once again, Alain Prost, closing right on the tail of René Arnoux Ferrari. 4th place is Nelson Piquet. So Piquet holding up the Parmalat Brabham honours, as of course is Alain Prost in the sole surviving Renault. I wonder if this is going to be a race of attrition. It's incredibly hot here at Silverstone, in the low 90 degrees Fahrenheit, almost unheard of temperatures for England. 2nd and 3rd now very close together indeed. Still the race leader, still 2nd place the same, Arnoux under a lot of pressure. Alain Prost putting 2 wheels up on the curbstones at the exit of Cox Corner. Change to our aerial view position. Into Beckett's they come. Still the race leader, Patrick Tambay, who seems to be drawing clear just that little bit from this battle for 2nd place. And what a battle it is, looking one way, then the other way, down, through onto Hanger Straight they come. Speeds attained here of 175 to 180 miles per hour. Oh, a little bit sideways there, going through Stowe Corner for 2nd place man, René Arnoux. Arnoux, who of course won the Canadian Grand Prix, lies 5th in the World Championship. Coming up towards the very fast flat-out sweep, the left-hander at Abbey, towards that Daily Express bridge. Under the bridge they go, the fastest point of the circuit, 190 miles an hour, braking hard for chicane. Still 2nd and 3rd place under close dispute there. Piquet closing in also, it would seem, but 2nd and 3rd now closer than they've ever been before. The race leader goes through Tambay and trying to take 2nd place there, side by side through Cox Corner, and into 2nd place goes the Frenchman Alain Prost, and now right on the tail of new 3rd place man Arnoux is the Brabham of Nelson Piquet. Piquet looking to the inside, thinking better of it coming into Beckett's. Prost pulling clear a little bit in 2nd place, and it would seem to perhaps to be closing on the race leaders. We've got a real race on our hands here for the 1983 British Grand Prix, and what a battle on for 3rd place between the Ferrari of René Arnoux and Nelson Piquet. Remember, Piquet tying for 2nd place in the World Championship prior to this event, just 3 points behind Alain Prost, who there is in 2nd place and really trying very hard indeed. Could the Goodyear tyres be going off a little bit on the Ferraris? Through club they go, and Piquet out of the slipstream, trying to get some clean air on that car. Patrick Tambay going through, Prost in 2nd place, Arnoux 3rd, Nelson Piquet is in 4th place, in 5th place for the moment, but out of our sight, Andrea de Cesaris with the Alfa Turbo. Into Cox, and 3rd and 4th place now under close dispute. So it's Goodyear, Michelin, Goodyear, Michelin. Of course, the Parmalat Brabham with the BMW Turbo is on the French Michelin tyres. And Nelson Piquet really looking every which way to try and get past that Ferrari. Down Hanger Straight they go. Into Stowe Corner. This corner, long right-hander, taking it something like 150 miles per hour. And a little bit sideways there for the Brabham. Now absolutely close behind, going into club. Once again up towards Abbey. Arnoux still in 3rd place. Arnoux, of course, the man who set that incredible pole position time of over 152 miles per hour for the Silverstone circuit. 1st and 2nd, in fact, looks as if Prost is closing in on the race leader Patrick Tambay, whilst we're watching this battle for 3rd place between René Arnoux and the 1981 world champion Nelson Piquet. Arnoux still 3rd, Piquet with that Parmalat Brabham in 4th place. Many people tipping Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian driver, to be the world champion this year, and I think that the battle will really be on between Alain Prost and Nelson Piquet over the remaining rounds of the Formula One World Championship. And Piquet looking to the inside, coming up side by side for club corner, but no, tucks in, thinks better of it. They flapped one of the Grand Prix International sponsored arrows. And Arnoux, strangely enough, they're pulling away a little bit. I think Piquet lost ground. But closing up, coming into the chicane, out of the chicane they come. Through the incredible heat haze here at Silverstone. Third and fourth now, once again, very close together. Into Beckett's, 110 miles an hour. Out of Beckett's. And there is first and second. As we said, Alain Prost was closing up on the race leader, number 27. And now we have a battle on our hands for the race lead as well as third and fourth. So the Ferrari of Patrick Tambay still leads, but Alain Prost has closed right up on him, so it's Ferrari versus Renault. Into the Woodcote chicane they come. And a little bit sideways, it would seem that the leader, Patrick Tambay, could well be having problems with his Goodyear tyres. Perhaps he chose the incorrect compounds, but it's still a real battle at this front for the 9th round of the World Championship, the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. First and second past Danny Sullivan. Danny down in 15th place. Third and fourth, still the same order. Piquet breathing all over the Ferrari. Back to the race leader. Down the hanger straight. And could Alain Prost make a try here going into the Stowe corner? No. But still a little bit sideways, a little bit wide for the race leader, Patrick Tambay. Alain Prost, though, still in second place. And they really are close now. First and second. Coming up to complete lap 19 here at Silverstone. Remember, it's a 67-lap race. Into the Woodcote chicane they come. Patrick Tambay with his Ferrari. Alain Prost in second place. And once again, a little bit sideways. A little bit of opposite lock needed for Patrick Tambay, the race leader. Third is now Piquet, fourth is Arnoux. And a change of leadership now, because through onto the inside of Copse goes Alain Prost, just like he did to René Arnoux. So we have a new race leader after 19 laps here at Silverstone. Alain Prost, the current World Championship leader, who's got 30 points, 3 points clear of his nearest rival, Patrick Tambay and Nelson Piquet, who are second and third behind him, who've both got 27 points. There's Piquet in third place. Now fourth place is René Arnoux. And Alain Prost with the Renault is now pulling away from Patrick Tambay, who led for the first 19 laps of the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Through Stowe comes the Belgium driver Thierry Boutsen, way down the order. Battling it out for 12th place is Keke Rosberg, the current world champion. And going through on the inside there a bit cheekily is Jean-Pierre Jarier with the Ligier. Back to the race leaders, and they've closed up again, but they are lapping Michele Alboreto, the man, of course, who won the recent Detroit Grand Prix. Alain Prost still leading Patrick Tambay in second place. Through Copse corner they go. First and second now. Clear of that battle between Alboreto. That looks to be another of the Ligiers, probably Raoul Boesel, but there at lap 20 was Prost leading, Tambay in second place, Piquet third, Arnoux fourth, fifth place the Chesris, and sixth place for the ATS BMW of Manfred Winkelhock. First and second through Stowe corner, coming up to 1/3 distance. Remember, we've got to have the famous pit stops now. Pit stops will take place round about the lap 30 to 35 mark, I would suggest, and that could change the pattern of the race. Mauro Baldi, who is down in 8th place, being chased by John Watson, who started in 25th place but is now up to 9th place. Ahead of this battle, once again, Rosberg going through on the inside of the Ligier of Jarier. And the first pit visitor is the Candy Tolman of Derek Warwick out of 8th place. There's the time. Brian Hart in the background, the man responsible for the all-British built Hart Turbo. 12 seconds now gone. Tyres are still being changed on the rear. A slow pit stop for Derek Warwick, and I think there may well be problems for his car. We leave him and go back to the race leader who's about to lap that rather interesting battle between the current world champion Rosberg and the Ligier of Jarrier. And second and third now coming close together, because in second place, of course, is still Patrick Tambay, but closing up on him in third place, the world champion of 1981, Nelson Piquet, with a Parmalat Brabham. Remember, these two are tying in second place in the World Championship stakes at the moment, both on 27 points. So arch rivals, Patrick Tambay in that famous number 27, the car that Gilles Villeneuve used to race, of course, before his tragic accident. Indeed, Tambay coming into the team after that accident in Belgium last year when Villeneuve tragically lost his life. Tambay still in second place, though, but now being hounded by the Parmalat Brabham of Nelson Piquet. But remember, everything could still change on one bad pit stop, and all the leading runners are going to have a pit stop. Tambay saying thank you to Jarrier for letting him through, but looking down the inside, going through Cox Corner. Third place man, the Parmalat Brabham of Piquet. Up towards Beckett's they come. Still behind Rosberg. There's Rosberg. Tambay and Nelson Piquet looking to the outside. Now right in the slipstream, going down the hanger straight. Now can Piquet perhaps slipstream past Tambay going into Stowe Corner. Tambay through, oh, and just squeezes past Rosberg. Oh, as does Nelson Piquet. A very close manoeuvre. Still second and third. Perhaps that's given Patrick Tambay a bit of a breathing space, but no, right back on his tail comes Nelson Piquet. And some really quite incredible overtaking manoeuvres here at Silverstone. There, lap 29, Prost, Tambay, Piquet, Arnoux, de Cesaris and Winkelhock. Remember, they've all got to make their pit stops for fresh tyres and put on some more fuel, because the majority of the cars have only gone out on half tanks and on very sticky dry weather slick tyres. And right in the slipstream there is Nelson Piquet in third place. Patrick Tambay still in second place, but all the while Alain Prost is leading. Alain Prost still well in the lead. It's pulled out something like a 10-second lead on these two. And looking down the inside, Nelson Piquet, and the door firmly shut by Patrick Tambay. Once again, side by side. Piquet trying always the exact same line, and will he attack now going into Stowe Corner? I think he will. He's right up behind Patrick Tambay, coming up side by side, and they're absolutely side by side. They must be wheel banging through Stowe Corner. They are touching wheels, and that is an incredible manoeuvre. And it's still Tambay in second place. Well, you don't get any closer than that. And once again making a challenge into Club Corner, it's Nelson Piquet, and that was a quite incredible sequence of racing. Still second and third. All eyes on this tremendous battle between arch rivals Patrick Tambay and Nelson Piquet. Right behind him, coming into the Woodcote chicane, and through under braking goes Nelson Piquet in a real daredevil manoeuvre. So Piquet goes into second place. Tambay in third place, so two Michelin runners, first and second. Tambay with the Goodyear tyres in third place. Fourth place now will be his teammate René Arnoux. In fifth place will still be de Cesaris. Sixth place, though, will be Nigel Mansell. Seventh place, Winkelhock. Piquet with that Parmalat Brabham. Second place. Third place for Patrick Tambay. Through Stowe Corner. Nelson Piquet second, Patrick Tambay third. Well, it does say on the back of your entry tickets that motor racing is dangerous, and it certainly is dangerous for that spectator. In Grand Prix Ferrari racing. In fact, it's almost abnormal not to have a pit stop. Piquet, will he come in now to the pits? He's staying to the right-hand side of the road, and let's watch the Parmalat Brabham mechanics, because they really do practice this. They've done a complete pit stop in round about 12 seconds. The fastest time here so far has been 14.5 seconds by the Ferrari team. Through back into the lead goes number 15, the Renault of Alain Prost. Status quo then is resumed. Into the pits comes the Parmalat Brabham Piquet, and just watch these Parmalat Brabham mechanics. Quite incredible. Tyres coming off, the fuel going on. And they finish changing those tyres in 7 seconds. The fuel is off, and it's incredibly quick. Just 12.5 seconds. In fact, not even that. It's 12.26 seconds, so after 42 laps, it's Prost. Mansell, remember Nigel Mansell with the John Player Special, has still got to make a fuel stop. So it's Prost leading, Mansell in second place, and in comes Nigel Mansell, the brand new John Player Special, the Lotus Renault. It's the first time, in fact, that Mansell, who scored a 1 championship point in the Canadian Grand Prix, it's the first time that Mansell has had the turbo power, doing very well. Remember, he started 18th on the grid. Tyres being changed, fuel going on, and really these fuel stops providing quite a spectacle in International Grand Prix motor racing. 13 seconds, a very, very good time for the Lotus team. But here's our race leader. The status quo, as we said, has been turned back to the normal. Prost leads. Alain Prost heading towards victory. This would be his 3rd victory of the 1983 Formula One season. Just over 17.5 seconds between Alain Prost and Nelson Piquet, who's back in the 2nd place. Mansell went out in 5th place, but he's not far behind 4th place man René Arnoux, and there is a big battle to warm the hearts of the many thousands of spectators here. Side by side down the pit straight they go. Oh, and almost hit the cockpit there of the Ligier that's flown off the car. 4th place still Arnoux, but under a lot of pressure now from this young British driver, Nigel Mansell. Really showing his worth here in front of his home crowd, of course. Arnoux 4th, and Mansell, can he close up down the straight? They're coming up side by side into the corner, but no, it will still be the Ferrari of Arnoux sliding through the corner. Up towards the apex they come. Arnoux, but now look, coming up towards Club Corner, challenging for that 4th place. Nigel Mansell, they'll come up towards the flat-out left-hand Abbey curve, the fastest part of the circuit, and no, he can't pass there. Oh yes, he does. That's incredible. That is a most unusual place to overtake anybody, and I think Nigel Mansell going through into 4th place, having the race of his career most certainly, and pulling clear of René Arnoux, who's dropped into 5th place, but up into 6th place has come the first of the normally aspirated cars, the McLaren Ford of Austrian Niki Lauda, as we head towards the final stages of the 1983 British Grand Prix. They're some 19 seconds behind 2nd place man. There's Danny Sullivan, still running 2 laps behind, but running in 14th place. A battle on for 8th and 9th place between De Cesaris and John Watson with the 2nd McLaren Ford. 7th place is Mauro Baldi with the other Alfa. Mark Sira going through with the Arrows. The ATS of Winkelhock, who seems to be slowing quite a lot towards the end of the race. Perhaps he's got a problem with the engine. Sullivan in 14th place, just behind his teammate Michele Alboreto, who's 13th. There, a cheer from this vast crowd for new 4th place man, the John Player Special. And there is John Watson, who's got up into 8th place. 9th is De Cesaris. But there is the race leader, Alain Prost leads. 2nd place, the Parmalat Brabham of Nelson Piquet. 3rd place, Patrick Tambay. Their 6th place man, Niki Lauda. 4th place, the John Player Special, Lotus 94T. Its debut race here, going very, very well indeed in 4th place. René Arnoux with the 2nd Ferrari in 5th place, whilst in 6th place, never giving up, Niki Lauda, the great Austrian driver. Espn for Alain Prost. Less than 10 miles to the checkered flag. Second man, Nelson Piquet with the Parmalat Brabham. Third place for Patrick Tambay. Through Copse Corner for the race leader. Although he's something just under 20 seconds clear of second place man, he's still got to be very careful indeed. Remember, there's lots of cars still on the circuit. In fact, there's some 17 cars out of the 26 runners that originally started who are still running. Sixth place man goes through. And there is a midfield battle between Alboreto and one of the Williams. Down this long hanger straight past those many planes that have been parked here for the Silverstone British Grand Prix, past the packed grandstands. We look down on this motorsporting event from 400 feet up in the air. Through Club Corner for three of the normally aspirated cars. And in fact is Jacques Lafitte just behind Michele Alboreto, about to lap the arrows of Marc Surer. Roberto Guerrero with the Theodore is running in 16th place. Through comes Niki Lauda, about to be lapped by second place man. Past part of the bodywork, still lying in the middle of the road. Part of the Ligier bodywork, which could have caused quite a few problems for not only the race leaders, but all the other cars still circulating at high speed on this circuit. Remember, the average lap here, well over 140 miles per hour, which is very quick for a road circuit. Indeed, Silverstone proving to be the quickest of all the Grand Prix circuits in the calendar. And so Alain Prost, our race leader, onto his final lap. About 2.7 miles for him to go. He's got to be very careful. I think he's slowing down just that little bit. There's 21 seconds between first and second place. Down the long hanger straight, sitting behind Thierry Boutsen with his arrows. Through Stowe Corner for the last time. He's just got half a lap to go before he gains another 9 points in the World Championship and heading towards his third victory of the season. He won, of course, at the French Grand Prix and then in the Belgium Grand Prix. A total of 30 points prior to this race. The victory here will give him another 9 points. He's got a 20-second gap between him and Nelson Piquet with the second car, the Parmalat Brabham. He could just about disengage the gear and drift across the line. But no, he's coming up towards the Woodcote chicane for the last time. And Alain Prost with the Renault Turbo wins the 1983 British Grand Prix. Jubilation in the pits for the Renault team. In second place will be Nelson Piquet with the Parmalat Brabham, adding 6 points. Through goes Nelson Piquet, who led whilst Alain Prost was having his pit stop. Third place for Patrick Tambay. In fourth place will, of course, be Nigel Mansell, the British driver. His best result to date here in the 1983 season. And in fifth place, René Arnoux. And finally, in sixth place, Niki Lauda. Seventh place will be Mauro Baldi with the Alfa Romeo. Eighth place, Andrea de Cesaris with the second Alfa. Ninth place for John Watson. 10th place for Jean-Pierre Jarier. 11th place for the current world champion Keke Rosberg. And in 12th place his teammate Jacques Lafitte. Amazingly, only 9 retirements from the 26 starters, and there's the world championship positions after 9 rounds. Alain Prost of France leads with 39 points with his Renault. In second place is Nelson Piquet with the Brabham, 33 points. Third place, Patrick Tambay with Ferrari, 31 points. Fourth place, Keke Rosberg with the Williams, 25 points, and the head of the non-turbocharged brigade. Fifth place, René Arnoux with 19 points of his Ferrari. And so the end of the British Grand Prix, held under ideal, hot, sunny conditions. And it really was a battle between the turbos, a battle between the Ferrari, the Renault and the Brabham. Ferrari with their very reliable turbo, Renault seemed to have a very reliable turbo, and BMW seemed to have a very reliable turbo. And I think we can count on the final 6 races as being very close and hard fought. The next round, of course, is the German Grand Prix on the 8th of August at Hockenheim, which most certainly is another of those turbo circuits. The almost obligatory champagne being sprayed. And Alain Prost obviously delighted to be leading the World Championship and looking forward to the remaining 6 races. But we hope that you'll join us in just 3 weeks' time at Hockenheim for for the German Grand Prix. Before we finally take our leave of you from Silverstone, let us go and talk to the winner of the 1983 British Grand Prix, Alain Prost, who's talking to John Bisignano.
We're with Alain Prost, who has just been victorious at this British Grand Prix. Alain, in this heat, many of the other teams had tire problems. How did your Michelin tires run?
I had no problem at all about the tires. I think if I won today, that is only because I had some perfect tires, because I know the Michelin is very good when it's very heat like today, and compared to the other cars, my car was fantastic.
Alain, did you have any incidences on the circuit when passing slower cars?
I have three problems during the race. My first problem was to pass the two Ferraris, which was very quick during the stretch. Second problem was when I passed Manfred Winkelhock, because he did not see me just when I was passing him on the curb. And when I passed another car, I did not see a piece of the Ligier, who was just on the track, and I missed to touch this piece and to have a puncture on my tires, but I was lucky.
2 years ago at this same circuit, Alain, you were leading very comfortably. Were you worried towards the end that some problem might steal you from victory again?
Yes, it's very important for me, this win for this season, and I remember 2 years ago, because I think I missed the championship for this race, and I'm very happy to win again.
You're leading the championship now with 39 points. Do you feel that the team can carry this victorious atmosphere all through the season?
Yes, because I think psychologically it's a very important win, because all the races we have to do after this one are very important, but are very good for us, about the tires, about our car. I think we can win everywhere. So I think this win psychologically is very important for all the team, who did a very good job, and I think they will follow their mind.
Your turbocharged Renault is also an advantage at the next several circuits, so you must be looking forward to Hockenheim and Austria.
Yes, but I think all the good cars now, all the competitive cars for the championship have a turbo engine, so I think we have no advantage compared to the Ferrari and the Brabham. I think our advantage is to have a good performance and to have a good reliability at the same time, and to have the perfect tires.
What about your American teammate, Eddie Cheever? You must have been sad to see him go out early.
Yes, but I would like Eddie to finish some more races. He's very, very good, and he's not lucky at the moment. And if he was lucky today, I think he was able to finish second behind me, or even first. But it's a less point for all the concurrents, and I would like he will be more lucky.
Best of luck for the rest of the season, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.